Jacob deGrom is the best pitcher on the planet when healthy. But how healthy is he? And what the heck should Rangers fans expect from him in his third year in Texas? We're going to talk about all that and more on this episode of Locked On Rangers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are locked onto the Texas Rangers. I'm Bryce Patrick, a cripplingly addicted Texas Rangers fan, covering this team for 11 seasons, including all 6 as the founder and host of this podcast. Thank you all so much for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. If you're not already, you can follow me on Twitter at Bryce Patrick. You can follow the show at Locked On Rangers. Hit subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and on YouTube, where the best way you can help grow the show is to comment nearly any single thing below. Now, on today's show, I'm going to break down what the heck to expect from Jacob deGrom, look at some previous examples, and try and figure out what to make of the Rangers' high-paid ace and what he might do in 2025. Before we get into all of that, today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Now, before we get into the Jacob deGrom stuff, I do want to address yesterday's episode talking a lot about Kirby Yates and publishing the episode after the news had already broken that he is signing with the Dodgers. I recorded that, obviously, before the news broke, and then didn't see the news until immediately after I hit publish on that show. And by then, it was too late to stop all of that train wreck. But let's look at Jacob deGrom. Now, the biggest question heading into the Rangers season of 2025 is, what the heck should Rangers fans expect from Jacob deGrom? He has been the best pitcher on the planet when healthy since, depending on who you ask, basically 2018. He won back-to-back Cy Young Awards in 2018 and 19. He looked pretty much even better in 2020, but still finished third place in Cy Young voting that season, and that was the last season that Jacob deGrom has been fully healthy. He made 12 starts that year in the COVID-shortened season. Then in 2021, he came back and looked like the best pitcher the world has ever seen for 15 starts. A 1.08 ERA in 92 innings. The guy was just unbelievable. 92 innings, he still finished top 10 in Cy Young voting. He was just that good. And when he's been on the mound since then, he has remained that good. But heading into his age 37 season, coming off of his second Tommy John surgery, he did come back and make 3 starts for the Rangers in 2024 towards the back end of that season. It's just hard to find comparisons on what to even base expectations on. I looked at so many different things. I looked at old pitchers that were good. I looked at old pitchers who threw hard and old pitchers who missed some time. And it's hard to pinpoint someone who's just like Jacob deGrom because he is so special and he is unique. But some of the best comparisons that I could find are, well, Justin Verlander, Adam Wainwright, Nathan Eovaldi, Chris Sale. What's really interesting in doing all this research about, coming back from a second Tommy John surgery, coming back from, Tommy John surgery or UCL repair surgery with an internal brace combination hybrid surgery, whatever it's actually called, there haven't been as many success stories as you might think. And one of the interesting things about Jacob deGrom, of the many interesting things, is that he's actually the first player in Major League history to win a Cy Young Award after having Tommy John surgery. This is his second Tommy John surgery. The first one was back in 2010. 10-10-2010. He returned on May 7th, 2012, and ended up winning his first Cy Young Award 6 years after that in 2018. There's only been one other player to come back from Tommy John surgery and win a Cy Young Award after that. And it, of course, is Justin Verlander. That's it. 2 guys. And nobody's ever done it after coming back from Tommy John surgery twice. In fact, there have been some success stories of guys having decent careers after a second Tommy John surgery, but the biggest success story so far in Major League history, maybe Jacob deGrom, will become the biggest success story after he comes back and maybe looks amazing for these next 2 seasons, and then the Rangers end up having him for 6 seasons, and he wins multiple Cy Youngs and multiple World Series rings and all of that good stuff. But the best so far success story of coming back from a second Tommy John surgery is Nathan Eovaldi, his own teammate. He had his first Tommy John surgery in 2007, his second in 2016, and since 2016, Nathan Eovaldi has been better than he was after his first Tommy John surgery, before his second. He has been fantastic. It's been 7 seasons. He's pitched in 160 games, 148 of those were starts, 833 innings, a 3.94 ERA, which is better than his career ERA before that second Tommy John surgery. There are also some other guys that are decent comparisons. Verlander was one of the few that's been about that age that had Tommy John surgery and has come back since. He was 37 when he had that surgery. He missed all of the 2021 season. He missed basically all of the 2020 season. He actually might have been 36 because he had his second Cy Young award at the age of 36, then pitched just one game in that 2020 season, had it after the 2019 season where the Astros lost to Max Scherzer and the Washington Nationals in that World Series. Also lost 4 home games in that series, the only team to ever lose 4 home games in a series, and they've done it twice. But at age 39, Justin Verlander, medical marvel, comes back and has maybe his best ever season. At 39, he pitched 28 games, 175 innings, 185 strikeouts, a 1.75 ERA, the best of his career, and wins his third Cy Young Award in 2022. And then, unfortunately, the Astros won the World Series that year. But 28 starts, 175 innings after pitching all of 6 innings in the previous 2 years. Now, Verlander is the definition of a durable workhorse. I mean, heck, he pitched 162 and a third innings in 2023 at age 40. Last year, he only pitched 90 and a third innings at age 41. We'll see how many innings he'll pitch this year in San Francisco. I mean, last year he had a 5.5 ERA. He's 41 years old. He's significantly older than deGrom, but it was about the same age and timeline. Missing basically 2 seasons. deGrom has missed basically 2 seasons, and then he came back and was just as good, if not better, than he'd ever been. Fastball was averaging 95 miles an hour. Verlander very much looked like Justin Verlander at age 39. And while Jacob deGrom isn't quite that old, he's only heading into his age 37 season, it's still curious to wonder what he's going to look like. The only other guys who are anywhere comparable was Adam Wainwright, who pitched a long time into his late years, had a bunch of different injuries, had Tommy John surgery in 2011, missed all of the 2011 season, came back and was better than ever in 2012, 2013, 2014. Then 2015, he missed some time with an Achilles tear, missed most of that season. Also had some back injuries, some elbow injuries. Had a couple of years in the not quite injured wilderness, but just was not nearly as effective from 2016 all the way to 2019. His age 37 season, that was also not great. 2020, he looked much better in that COVID shortened season, and then had a 4-WAR season at age 39 in 2021, was also respectable with 2-WAR season, 32 starts at age 40, then was pretty terrible in his final year in the big leagues, but hey, still got to 200 career wins, even though he had a 7.40 ERA in 101 innings at age 41. There have been guys who have come back and have been better. Also, look at Chris Sale, who won his first career Cy Young Award this year, his age 35 season, missed the vast majority of 3 years. In 2020, he didn't pitch at all. In 2021, he only had 9 starts in 42 and 2/3 innings. In 2022, he only had 2 starts in under 6 innings. Then he had 102 innings in 2023, and then this year won a Triple Crown at a Cy Young at age 35 in Atlanta. He was downright fantastic. And now with Sale, it wasn't a second Tommy John surgery. It was a bunch of different really random injuries. He did have one Tommy John surgery that missed all of 2020, missed a decent chunk of 2019. Also had a stress fracture in his rib in 2022. Also fractured his left pinky finger in a bike accident. Just all kinds of weird random issues, and a medical non-baseball related issue also kept him out even longer in 2022. Then he came back and was amazing. And in terms of Jacob deGrom, that's kind of what the Rangers are hoping for, is for him to come back and be amazing. Coming up, we're going to talk about what to expect from Jacob deGrom, the best case, the worst case scenario, and what are some realistic expectations for the Rangers ace in 2025. Talk about all that and more right after this. This show's brought to you by SelectQuote. In sports, having a winning strategy is everything. It's how the best teams make it to the Super Bowl, the World Series, and the Olympics. Same goes for life. Having a strategy like life insurance from SelectQuote can protect your financial legacy and keep your family's future secure. SelectQuote makes it easy to find the perfect life insurance policy. As one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years experience, they helped over 2 million customers find $700 billion of coverage since 1985. What sets SelectQuote apart is their personal touch, because unlike other brokers that offer one-size-fits-all policies, their licensed agents tailor coverage to your unique fits. If you're in good health, you might even qualify for same-day coverage up to $5 million with no medical exam required. And it's more affordable than you'd think. You can get up to $1 million of coverage for life insurance for as little as $20 a month. So get the right life insurance for you at SelectQuote.com/locked-on. Go to SelectQuote.com/locked-on today to get started. That's SelectQuote.com/locked-on. They shop, you save. Shout out to the Everydayers for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. On tomorrow's show, I'll be talking a little bit about, who knows what I'll be talking about? Oh yeah, the best one-year Rangers, the best players who were on the Rangers for 1 year. And we'll even talk about some great postseason one-year rentals in trades. So let's look at the best case scenario for Jacob deGrom. Now, obviously, the best case scenario is that he just comes back, makes 32 starts, throws 200 innings, has a sub-2 ERA with 300 strikeouts, wins a Cy Young, and everything is hunky-dory and perfect, makes all of his postseason starts, the Rangers win all of them, win the World Series, and everything is wonderful. But that's maybe not a realistic best case scenario. I think looking at Jacob deGrom and what to expect from him heading into his age 37 season, it's hard, but I think maybe Verlander's 2022 season is the absolute best that he could hope for. And that's a 1.75 ERA, 28 starts, 175 innings, and a Cy Young award. Maybe he'll get that. Maybe. But deGrom had been very durable before all of this started happening in 2021. And part of me thinks, most of me knows that all of this time missed since 2021, well, before the second Tommy John surgery in 2023, it was all delaying what seemed like the inevitable and ended up being the inevitable of getting a second Tommy John surgery. It was a lot of rest and, okay, we don't want to, do the operation because then you're going to miss a whole bunch of time of 12 to 14 months. And now that it's happened, now that he's bit the bullet and it's already done, maybe he can just get back to being one of the more durable pitchers in baseball. I mean, he made 30 starts in 2015, made 31 in 2017, 32 in both of his Cy Young seasons, and made all 12 of his starts in the COVID-shortened 2020 season. And since then, it's been a lot of delaying the inevitable. So maybe he does come back and, has those 25 or 28 to 30 starts. He said his goal this season is to make 30 starts. He said, I don't know if that's going to end up happening because just jumping back up more than 100 innings in a year is difficult for anybody, even, pitchers in their prime. But, it's been done before. It has happened before. Now, is Jacob deGrom Justin Verlander? No. And that's fine. At his peak, he has done things that Verlander has never done. I mean, averaging 99 miles an hour in that 2021 season with his fastball, that's something Verlander never done. That's something very few pitchers have done and have done with the control and command. Because at his best, Jacob deGrom is unhittable. I mean, since that 2021 season when he really ratcheted things up, when the fastball velocity jumped up even higher after back-to-back Cy Young wins and 3 straight years of top 3 Cy Young finishes. Since 2021, he's started 35 games. He's pitched 197 and a third innings, a 2.01 ERA, 307 strikeouts to just 24 4 walks. And since 2021, you look at these ERA leaders, he's third in baseball with a minimum of 190 innings pitched, third behind only Emmanuel Clase and Devin Williams. You look at his FIP, his fielding independent pitching, that's the best in baseball in that stint at 163. That's more than a half a run better than the next closest, which is Emmanuel Clase. You look at WAR, Fangraphs WAR, he's top 40, and he's only pitched not even 200 innings since 2021. When he is on the hill, since 2021, heck, since 2018, he has been incredible. There is not a question in my mind that he will come back and be anything but great if he's on that mound. But I'm thinking, for me, best case scenario is probably around 25 starts. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Fangraphs is projecting him for 152 innings, which feels aggressive. I mean, the Steamer has exactly 152 innings, 26 starts for him, 12 Ks per 9 because, of course, in a 2.8 ERA. That feels like about Jacob deGrom and a 5 WAR season in 150 innings, because that's just who he is. When he's on the hill, he's absolutely insane. He's unbelievable, and I think that he can get there. Whether that's this year getting to 150 innings, I think that it's possible for him to make 30 starts in a season. Maybe that will be 2026, and this will be the year of ramping up to get him to 125 to 150 innings. Then next year, they really, really let him loose and just go nuts on it, and he has an incredible season and becomes durable again. I mean, you look at guys like Randy Johnson, who, not that Jacob deGrom is Randy Johnson, because he throws with his right arm as opposed to his left, but Randy Johnson was really hitting his peak at age 37. I mean, his two best seasons, 2001 and 2002, his age 37 and 38 seasons, when he won his third and fourth consecutive Cy Youngs, the fourth and fifth of his career. He had another 8 WAR season in 2004 as a 40-year-old. He had another 5.8 WAR season with the Yankees in 2005 as a 41-year-old. I don't know that Jacob deGrom is going to pitch to his age 45 season like Randy Johnson did. I don't know that he's going to end up with 5 Cy Youngs like Randy Johnson did. But I know that kind of a pitcher is most definitely in there. This guy is just unbelievably talented. Now, the flip side of that coin, Jacob deGrom is heading into his age 37 season. He has not made more than 15 starts since 2021. He has not made, he made 6 starts in 2023. He made 3 starts last year. A combined, 41 innings in the big leagues with Texas in 2 seasons? It's not a lot. And the worst case scenario for Jacob deGrom is that he just doesn't pitch again. That's on the table. It's possible. At this point, I don't think that's likely, but when you're coming off of a second Tommy John surgery, when you're coming off of 4 straight seasons where you haven't been able to handle a full workload, when you look at just the things that he does, I mean, averaging 90 plus miles an hour with that slider, it takes a toll on you. When you're 6'4", 180 pounds, there's not quite that same level of bulk of guys who like Justin Verlander, who's listed at 6'5", 235 pounds. I don't think that 1 inch of height makes all that difference, but it's really the bulk of just being able to shoulder that kind of load. The physical toll that it takes on your body to throw that hard with that much spin, with that much effort and everything, it takes a toll. We've seen it these last couple of seasons. We've seen the toll that it takes on Jacob deGrom's body. And, you have to wonder if it's worth it. Maybe, I know that part of this is just throwing the slider so hard and having that kind of elite velocity. He didn't have these problems when he was averaging 95, 96 miles an hour on his fastball. Last year, the fastball velocity ticked down just a little bit for Jacob deGrom, and maybe that's a key to being healthy. It's not all entirely tied to throwing slower. would guarantee him being healthy for a full season, but I'm sure that's at leleast part of the problem. In 2022, he averaged 98.9 miles an hour with his fastball, and 22.2 miles an hour slower. Last year, 97.3 miles an hour. Granted, he was swinging 79 pitches, and he's still working his way back up to being fully healthy. He's still working his way back to, being at his peak. Wasn't fully healthy even when he was at the big level for those 3 starts. But it is possible. It has to be at least on your mind, on the table, that he could just not pitch anymore. And those 9 starts that we've gotten from Jacob deGrom in a Rangers uniform is all we get. But I don't think that's all we're getting this year. Let's look at a realistic scenario and what the Rangers, more importantly, need from their ace to hopefully win it all again in 2025. Talk about all that and more right after this. This show is brought to you by Gametime. I love going to live events, whether it's sports, music, theater, or comedy. One of my favorite memories last year was going to see Kamar Rocker's home debut in person, and I'm pretty sure one of my favorite memories this year will be, hopefully, if he's healthy, seeing a Jacob deGrom start live. And getting tickets to those starts, getting tickets to those events, it can be tricky, but not with Gametime. Gametime makes it so easy to find tickets for all your favorite live events, whether it's concerts, whether it's a Jacob deGrom start, whether it's a Luka Doncic game, whether it's a hockey game, no matter what you're looking to go to, Gametime makes it so easy to get those tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? It's game time. Now, what is a realistic expectation for Jacob deGrom? Now, I would love to expect 30 starts, 180 innings, a Cy Young, and all that good stuff, but that's not realistic. And also expecting him to never ever pitch again, also not really realistic. What is a sensible middle ground for Jacob deGrom? Well, for me, I'm hoping for at least 15 starts, closer to 20, somewhere in that 100 to 125 inning range, maybe at the top end 150. I don't see him getting much more than 150 innings, but the main part of getting a Jacob deGrom is for the postseason. The main reason of spending, $37 million average annual value over the life of this 5-year contract is getting him for the postseason. Just get him healthy come October. Get yourself in a position to make a run. And then if you have Jake deGrom throwing 1 out of every 3 or 4 postseason games that you've got, you're probably winning the vast majority of those games, if not all of them. If you have Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi, your 1-2, those two are pitching at least half of your postseason games, that is a very, very good recipe for winning a championship. No matter what seed the Rangers are, no matter if they're winning the AL West and have 95 wins, 100 wins, or a top 2 seed and they miss out on the wild card series altogether, even if they're in that best of 3 series, if you're in a best of 3 series, you have Jacob deGrom starting game 1, Nathan Eovaldi starting game 2, you're probably not going to a game 3, especially with this offense and having a Corey Seager in your postseason lineup, having these guys who are battle tested, who most of whom have been to the World Series and won a World Series not all that long ago. That's why you get him. That's one of the many, many reasons why 2023, winning it all that year, was so improbable. Because the playoffs are a crapshoot. They're less of a crapshoot if you have a Corey Seager, who is a postseason behemoth. They're less of a crapshoot if you have one of the best pitchers, the best pitcher on the planet, and he's healthy. And you have one of the best postseason starters on earth as your number 2 in your rotation. That makes life a whole lot easier. And the fact that the Rangers did win it all with basically 2 healthy playoff caliber starters, 2.5. I'll give Andrew Heaney that half because he was solid in his postseason run. But the Rangers did it with their number 2 being Jordan Montgomery and their number 1 being Nathan Eovaldi. That's what makes that absolutely insane. And not even to get into all the bullpen shenanigans of all of that. I mean, that 2023 World Series run was just so incredible that they did it without Jacob deGrom. They got 6 starts from all year, and they were still that good that they were not only in contention, but made the playoffs, won the World Series with that team, without one of those number one best pitcher in baseball type of guys. It was just sensational. Everything broke just right. But if the Rangers do get a healthy Jacob deGrom in 2025, if they do get him healthy for the postseason, that's the main important goal. Whether he gives them 75 innings or 150 innings, the Rangers need to be in contention come September and make the playoffs so that you could have a Jacob deGrom playoff start. Because my goodness, go back and watch the highlights of his most recent playoff start. It was with the Mets, it was against the Padres, and it was just downright disgusting stuff. I mean, painting 100 miles an hour on the opposite quarter, getting those sliders that make right-handed hitters just look insane. At 380 grade pitches, plus a 70 grade curveball that he barely even throws. He's just so masterful to watch that he can make any lineup, heck, even this Dodgers lineup, I think he could make look bad. And this is one of the best lineups that baseball may have ever seen. He gives you a chance of beating whoever you're matched up against in the playoffs, 1 out of every 3 or probably 1 out of every 4 postseason starts. That's what makes him so special, and that's what's most important for him. The rest of this Rangers rotation, you're hoping that you can get a lot of bulk out of them. There are a lot of questions on how much to expect from Kumar Rocker because he's in a similar scenario. He is a little bit younger. He does not have, he also has the shoulder concerns with deGrom, which deGrom has never had. He's also had some knee concerns, which deGrom has never had. So we'll see how much the Rangers are banking on from Kumar Rocker. Nathan Eovaldi is heading into his, age 35, 36 season. He's pitched pretty durably the last couple of seasons, more so than I know that I expected from him. Yeah, he's heading into his age 35 season. You also have Tyler Mahle, who is also coming off of Tommy John surgery. You also have Cody Bradford, who missed a good chunk of this season. You also have John Gray, who's missed good chunks of most of his seasons in the big leagues. So it's kind of a little bit of a patchwork rotation, but the guys who are there, if you can bank on most of them being healthy, when they're there, they're pretty good. It's just a matter of who can be the most durable. So maybe the Rangers do need 150 innings from Jacob deGrom. Who knows what they are going to get from guys like Mahle, from guys like John Gray, from guys like Cody Bradford, and from Kumar Rocker, and heck, even from Nathan Eovaldi. But the options that they have there are solid, and the options behind them are pretty solid as well. I mean, I don't think that Jack Leiter is going to be making 30 starts this year. I really don't think he's going to be making 35, but if he's making 10, 15 in the big leagues, I think he's capable of that. Dane Dunning had a really, really bad year last year, but the year before, he was the Rangers pitcher of the year in the year that they won the World Series. A decent starting rotation pitcher is in there, and if he's your number 6, 7 in your rotation, that's fine. And not to mention Adrian Hauser, who the Rangers got as some minor league depth if there are some injuries, if there are some question marks. That's a guy who can slide into the back end of rotation and be solid. And not to mention the guys who are in this farm system who might take that leap and make their big league debuts this year. So what I'm trying to get at is Jacob deGrom is one of one, and predicting what the heck he's going to do this year, it feels like an absolutely impossible task. And when you think about Jacob deGrom, I challenge you to separate him from the contract. Unless you're Ray Davis, then it's your money and you can be as upset about him missing time as you want. But when you look at Jacob deGrom, the pitcher, just take the contract out of it. Because first off, it's not your money. It never will be. And it doesn't affect your day-to-day life how much Jacob deGrom is making. Plus, he earned that. With his performances beforehand, he earned that. That is how this works. That is how being a major leaguer works. And also, it just ruins the experience of watching Jacob deGrom. It makes you think more about the player, the health, the contract, the value, all of that nonsense. That's not why any of us started liking baseball. That's not why you started liking baseball. It's not why I started liking baseball. It's not even why GMs who are programmed to think like that, to think about maximizing value per dollar, per war, and all of that stuff. it just takes the joy out of watching who Jacob deGrom is, which is an unprecedented specimen of pitching excellence. Watching him is poetry. It's artwork. It's something that is rarely seen, of just an artisan at the top of his craft, one of the best to ever do it, doing things that defy what we thought were possible, of having that kind of stuff and that kind of command, and just making even the best hitters on the planet look like absolute silly fools who have never played the sport before. Look like they've never seen a fastball before in their life. It's just, what is that? Oh my gosh, how do you do that? You can't do that. That's not fair. That's not physically possible. But with deGrom, it is. Every start of his, every pitch he throws is must-watch TV, not just because of you never know, as you've never seen anything like this, but also because of the rarity of it these last couple of years. Every single pitch, I have been locked into every single pitch Jacob deGrom has thrown as a Texas Ranger, because unfortunately you never know when the next one is going to be. You never know when his last one is going to be. So I challenge you to take all of that worry about the value and how much the Rangers are going to extract from it, and dollars per war, and all of that dumb nonsense out of it, and just appreciate Jacob deGrom for who he is. The best freaking pitcher on the planet, maybe even in the history of the sport. Unfortunately, with that caveat, when healthy. But I'm so hoping we get to see the fully actualized version, the fully healthy version of Jacob deGrom, so we can just throw that caveat out in the future, hopefully, of him just being healthy and the best pitcher on earth. That's going to do it for today's show. Thank you all so much for listening and subscribing, and until next time, don't forget to enjoy baseball.